So, Milo Murphy's Law is a show that I like a lot just because of the characters and the story. It's just a very well done show. And also because Phineas and Ferb is one of my favorite shows, made by the same people, and it is a spin-off to Phineas and Ferb, so obviously it's one of my favorite shows. Therefore, I am going to make a theory about this show, since I've never made a theory on my channel about this, and because I found a lot of evidence that supports what happens in this universe, and a movie that connects to this universe in a way that will blow your mind. So, Milo Murphy's Law is a show about this kid. He's not really a kid, he's a teenager named Milo, and his friends Melissa and Zach, and their adventures that they go on, and their hijinks because of Milo's curse that's called Murphy's Law. And it's a family curse, but it only happens to the men in the family, because I don't know. But we're gonna figure that out today, and we're gonna find out why this movie that I'm about to talk about is connected to Milo Murphy's Law. Anyway, let's get into the video, and everybody buckle in, strap up. We're about to get into the theory. All right, let's go. So the movie that I'm going to be connecting Milo Murphy's Law to is called Jinxed. And it's a movie about this girl named Meg and her family, and how they go through the same thing as Milo Murphy's Law, because obviously their family name is also Murphy. So I'm gonna therefore connect the two families and figure out a way to connect these two pieces of media and see how well they go together as an entire franchise. Mr. Mouse, don't sue me, because I know this is made by Nickelodeon and your show is made by you, obviously. But I know, I know that, but I'm just trying to make a theory about these two universes, not your show, like how it's made in general. Anyway, let's get back into the theory. So, since we're doing a family tree, we might as well start off with Milo Murphy, the main character of Milo Murphy's Law. Like I said, he has a dad, and his name is Martin Murphy, and his wife's name, Milo's mom's name, is Bridget Murphy, and he also has a sister, and his sister's name is Sarah Murphy, and they also have a grandpa, which is only named suspiciously Grandpa Murphy, and the grandma is only named Grandma Murphy, which is kind of stupid. Why would you just not give them a name? Some cartoons are more complex and just give their grandma and granddad characters a name, but anyway, I don't really like that. But anyway, we're gonna get into that sooner or later, but let's go even deeper now. There is Martin Murphy's brother, which is Joey Murphy, and then there was also his wife, and her name is Laura Murphy. They also have a son named Reggie, and they have a son named Nate. Grandpa Murphy ended up mentioning a ancestor called Obadiah Murphy, and their other ancestor, which was the first ancestor of the Murphys who first had the curse, is named Sheriff Murphy. We don't even really know his name. He's just the sheriff of a town of people who never got back to their own timeline because of Murphy's Law. Okay, now let's go on to the Murphy family from Jinxed. First, let's start with the youngest kid in the family. The baby, who I don't think is named, Charlie, the second youngest kid in the family who loves skateboarding. Meg Murphy, the main character, was trying to get rid of the curse. There's Mark Murphy Jr. and Grace Murphy, Grandpa Murphy, and finally, Tommy Murphy, who danced with Caitlin O'Leary and made a mistake and kissed a different girl, and so she got mad and he made a mistake and pulled her dress. So she ended up trying to flip a coin to see if she'll dance with him again, and it landed on heads, but she cursed all the Murphys, and that's how they got the curse. Meg finds this out and tries to break the curse, but ends up realizing that she passed the curse on to someone else. And so she gives the curse back to herself, ending the curse for the other people, but giving it back to her family. So, what I think happened is when Meg got older, her kids ended up finding what the coin that she dug up into the dirt while they were playing, and found out that they had the curse and probably didn't want to be cursed anymore, just like she did when she was a kid. And so she ended up transferring it to only one side of her family, the men part of the family. Now let me ask you a question. Who is Sheriff Murphy from Milo Murphy's Law? I know he's the sheriff of the town and one of Milo Murphy's ancestors, but we don't know his name or who he really is. All we know is that he was a sheriff of a town full of time travelers. What happened to the people that were there? Well, I think what happened is Tommy Murphy is Sheriff Murphy and got dumped on that day and cursed. That day, his whole family got cursed, and he watched that girl marry someone else. After that, he got his own wife and actually had kids with her, creating a whole couple of new generations. And throughout those generations, there were wars between families. And through those wars, a lot of people died, and the city began to crumble. The whole town ended up having no more people in it except his family. And that is where the time travelers came in and repopulated because they got trapped because of Murphy's Law. After those wars, there was a part of his family left, and there was one girl. They got married and had kids of their own, there were also more kids from the travelers that got stuck there. One of them, named Grace, as an adult, married a Murphy named Mark. They had 3 kids, Meg, Charlie, and the baby who doesn't have a name. And that's where the first movie comes in, and then after that, after so many years, Meg finds out that her kids don't want to be cursed, so she gives the curse to only the men in the family. And a couple decades afterwards, there is Milo Murphy's Law, which is the final installment in this universe. You know what's crazier than that? Jinx, in their opening credits and parts of the movie, had the same art style as Milo Murphy's Law. That's so crazy. It's just true. It has to be true. They're in the same universe, and that is the end of the theory. Or it's just a very big coincidence. Who knows? That might just be crazy. That's just a theory. Alright, goodbye.